Welcome to Frontline News from the University of Maryland School of Medicine News Center. I'm Larry Roberts. Coming up, school mental health experts travel to Poland to help Ukrainian refugee children, and the magic of Match Day. But first, everyone is wondering whether we need a fourth COVID vaccine. The likely answer is yes, but some important questions need to be addressed.
What's the best time to give the fourth dose? We don't want to give it too close. Should we be using a variant strain for the fourth dose? Should we be using a different type of vaccine? We have Novavax, we have Sanofi that are coming along with these protein-based vaccine. Maybe a mix will help us do a little bit better.
Pfizer and BioNTech are recommending another booster for those over 65, and Moderna is recommending a fourth dose for all adults. It could help protect people from the BA.2 subvariant, which spreads 80% faster than the original Omicron variant.
So we're starting to look at, do we change the strain of the vaccine? Do we do a mix, the way we do for influenza, where we basically have 4 strains in one vaccine? Do we need to think about that for COVID-19 vaccines? And in fact, those multivalent vaccines are being tested right now.
The good news is the existing vaccines are performing about the same against the subvariant. Millions have been displaced by the war in Ukraine, and children may be suffering the most. That's why Dr. Sharon Hoover is traveling to Poland to help heal the psychological trauma.
This is really the largest refugee crisis that we've seen since World War II. There have been over 3 million Ukrainians that have had to flee the country, and about 1.5 million of those are children. So not surprisingly, there's a humanitarian crisis in those receiving countries, as well as the horrors that we're seeing in Ukraine. And for the work that we do, a lot of it is really helping not only the frontline workers, and some of those are just community workers who are there at the train stations and trying to get families into homes, helping equip them with some of the psychological tools that they may need to help the mental health of folks. So, of course, the first concerns are food, shelter, but very quickly thereafter, those frontline community members are asking for how can we help them when they're crying, when they can't seem to find hope, when they're waking in the night with nightmares. So we give them some psychological first aid tips.
Dr. Hoover will provide support and guidance to schools that are taking in student refugees.
Things like teaching your frontline workers to remain calm, to listen empathically, to be open to big emotions of our young people, to not try to suppress some of the emotions that they're having. And when reasonable, to try to start building some of those typical routines and rituals back into their lives. And that is very hard to do in the context of crisis, but especially for our youngest family members, it's really critical. So just getting them back into school, for example, and interacting with some peers can be a really important part of the healing process for them.
Dr. Hoover will be in Poland about 2 weeks, working just a few miles from the Ukrainian border. Finally, it was time to celebrate when fourth-year medical students participated in Match Day at Meyerhoff Symphony Hall.
I'm moving to Boston. I matched in emergency medicine at Boston Medical Center.
Match Day is when students discover where they will continue their education as residents after graduation.
Here at the University of Maryland School of Medicine, we make Match Day a festive occasion, a day of celebration, one that reflects a major milestone that you have achieved. The celebration today is about your next step in changing the world.
I think it's just awesome and wonderful after this pandemic and what we've gone through in the healthcare field that we're able to celebrate this day in person and be able to be here with our family and friends and faculty and staff and the people that got us through these last 4 years, because medical school is such a wonderful time, but it's really hard. And so this is such an accomplishment. I'm so proud of everyone.
I matched family medicine at UNC.
Match Day occurs at the same time on the same day for all graduating medical students in the United States. That's Frontline News. I'm Larry Roberts. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon.